The strongest Witcher of all time, Geralt of Rivia, versus the strongest man of all time, debatably, with no sorcery and no tricks. Leo Bonart in the books has allegedly killed 3 Witchers already, but in the face of the White Wolf, will Bonart remain the hunter or become the hunted? In today's video, that's exactly what we'll be talking about. However, when I speak about Geralt's strength, I normally use a composite version of Geralt, meaning all Geralt's feats in any Witcher media, including the games and the books. But today we are only using the books version, as I think it's more fair considering they are both from the books. Before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe as it supports the channel greatly, and join the Discord. In the Discord, we discuss all things Witcher, and I think I've built a pretty good community there, and it would be nice to see some new faces. The link will be in the description for that. But without further ado, let's talk about the highly debated subject of Leo Bonart versus Geralt of Rivia. A lot of you are probably aware who Geralt of Rivia is, so I won't spend any time explaining who he actually is. I'll give a quick rundown now, however, of how strong Geralt is in the books. Geralt is still a monster in the books. He has no weakling, even though he is an absolute monster in the games. Geralt in the books has superiors, of course, like Vilgefortz. He's capable of reacting to Vilgefortz's lightning attacks and Yennefer's lightning attacks in The Last Wish. He actually also blocks Yennefer's attacks with Heliotrope. Geralt embarrasses knights with ease, as seen with Talez at the Temple of Melitele. Talez is the knight who accompanied Falwick to press Geralt to leave the Temple of Melitele immediately. Geralt bullies Talez in the duel entirely and forces him to strike himself, freeing himself of punishment. Witchers themselves are complete freaks of nature, and Geralt is the top of the food chain of Witchers. Geralt is definitely one of the high tiers in the Witcher universe. This is more true in the games than the books, but it still stands true in the books, quite evidently so. I've spoken about Geralt's strength before in a video previously on the channel. It's very slightly out of date, but check it out if you want a detailed explanation on how strong Geralt truly is. It's more about the games, but I do delve into the books in that video. I think now's about the time that we cover the unfamiliar one in this situation, that being Leo Bonart, and if he can defeat the White Wolf. So let's talk about Leo Bonart and what he can actually do. Bonart is one of the best swordsmen in the books without a shadow of a doubt. He carries 3 Witcher medallions, claiming to have killed all 3 of them. The medallions come from one of the each Witcher schools established in the book continuity, that being the Griffin, Cat, and the Wolf. Nobody questions whether or not they are real due to Bonart's skill and prowess with a sword. The implications of having allegedly killed 3 Witchers is kind of putting him at that Witcher level of power. Bonart effortlessly defeats the Rats, a gang that Ciri was a part of in the books, and of course defeats Ciri herself. Ciri is absolutely no match for Bonart, that is until later on. Later on in the books, if you guys are not aware, Ciri does end up defeating Bonart. And again, this video is strictly about Bonart versus Geralt, so I'm only stating the very bare minimum, but if you'd like to know more about what Bonart is and who he is, I actually made a video about that last week. Kind of scaling off of Ciri here, where does Bonart actually fall? Well, he did lose to Ciri ultimately. One can infer that it was due to a gap in agility. Bonart is in fact still more skillful than Ciri with a sword. Ultimately, he was outwitted and his combat speed wasn't enough to keep up with Ciri. The gap between Ciri and Geralt at this point is quite large, so where does this actually put Bonart in comparison to Geralt? Well, nowhere near him. If Geralt is in peak condition and so too Bonart, he has absolutely no chance in hell. Even if Bonart changed his name to Beat Geralt, and Sapkowski wrote him in a book called That One Time I Beat Geralt, ladies and gentlemen, he's still not beating. Matter of fact, I don't even know if Bonart in peak condition would beat Geralt on a bad day. Geralt isn't just any other Witcher. I don't think Bonart's going to be getting a second wolf medallion anytime soon. At least, not from this wolf, that is. What I think is a much more interesting question is if Bonart actually killed Witchers previously. So, let's shift to that. The claim that Bonart killed 3 Witchers is very ambiguous in my humble opinion. The common idea is, wow, 3 Eskel or Lambert tier people have been slain by Bonart. Ultimately, that's not true, and it also isn't confirmed. We have absolutely no idea what kind of metal these Witchers had in them. When the medallions are inspected, it's only spoken to how high quality they are, not their legitimacy. The medallions could very well be stolen and / or fake, but let's play with the idea that the real and Bonart truly did slay 3 Witchers. Even if we ride with this idea, there's still a few questions to be asked. One such question is, who even were these Witchers? They're completely anonymous. They could very well be young and fresh out of school, kind of like how Geralt was in the most recent book written by Sapkowski, where he really struggles with a lot of monsters that he otherwise wouldn't due to a lack of experience. They could have been injured from a contract previously, they could have been killed off guard, they could have been starved or devoid of any resources to fight back. We truly have no idea. My guess is that Bonart did not fight 3 primed and ready Witchers in a fair and honest bout as many believe, or sort of interpreted from this passage. Ciri is agile and her environment gave her the advantage, but I find it incredibly hard to believe that a young and ready Witcher would have fallen as Bonhart did to Ciri. Until we have more solid evidence that these Witchers were, say, Eskel or Lambert tier, someone who's a strong, young Witcher other than Geralt, who's double mutated obviously, I'm not really comfortable to say that Leo Bonart fair and square 1v1 3 Witchers, but that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So no, Bonart stands absolutely no chance against Geralt. The game version of Geralt and the comp version of Geralt kind of just amplifies this beating that Bonhart is about to get. project. I didn't even know if this was worth making a video on, to be honest with you guys, as the answer was kind of obvious to me, but I had a lot of requests to do it, so here you are. But I'd still like to know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, I have a lot of other videos like it on the channel, so be sure to check them out. I'm going to try veer away from the versus battles and the top 10s and the rankings that I do on my channel, as I've been really enjoying nerding out and telling you guys about the lore of The Witcher, and you guys seem to enjoy it too. Expect more lore videos to come. Be sure to subscribe as it supports the channel and the dream, and it supports the very big project that we have coming up soon, which I'm going to keep under wraps for now. I hope you all have a great day and take care. Love.